You're watching Passamite News. In today's bulletin, we'll be talking about Scotland's 1-1 draw against Israel, previewing Monday's game against the Czech Republic, which has already sparked a lot of controversy following the Czech Republic deciding to basically disband the whole international team that played against Slovakia on Friday night to end up basically start a completely new team for Monday's match. We'll also be hearing from the Czech Republic fan Krzysztof Gogela on what life is like in the Czech Republic right now, and basically talking about what the squad's going to be like on Monday. But first of all, let's talk about Scotland-Israel. I know nobody wants to, but give me 2 minutes and I'll give my complete summary on the match before we move on to the interview in hand and, of course, my thoughts on the Scotland versus Czech Republic match. For those who didn't watch the stream on Friday night, nobody was confident going into this game because of the team that Steve Clarke had set out to do. I think this was a one-off game because, well, let's just say, for a starter, 3-4-3. Scotland have never played well with a 3 at the back formation, and we never will. We are not fancy enough to even dare think about such a thing. And to not go at least 4 at the back, that's a big problem, in my opinion. And we are never rigid enough with 3 playing, especially in such a formation that needs fluidity and players are always interchanging with other positions, such as the 3-4-3. Whereas if we had played a 4-2-3-1, which I suggested we should have been playing, which is a lot more rigid, apart from maybe the midfield 3 that's just before the one man up front, sort of always interchanging. It's always going to be a really difficult formation to really pull off, even though Israel were playing with 3 at the back as well. I almost threw up in my mouth today after hearing Steve Clarke's post-match interview saying that there were positives to take from the game. It's all very well and good saying your striker had a good game considering he had nothing to work with. Everything Lyndon Dykes did was good, apart from the fact he had no service, and that is a major problem. We had 2 shots on target at home against Israel, and 1 was a penalty. It's as good as we get, honestly. Nothing to take away from Ryan Christie's fantastic penalty, but apart from that, we did not look like scoring, and that is a problem, because every time we got the ball, it was sideways passing, there was nothing going forward. Absolutely nothing. No runs off the ball, and as I say time and time again, 80% of the game, if not 90% of the game, is won by off the ball running. You have to work off the ball harder than with the ball. Oh, it's just an absolute nightmare, especially when one of your best midfielders is playing centre half. Yes, Scott McTominay playing centre half. What is that all about? I was not comfortable watching Scotland try and play the ball out from the back because every time a centre-back dropped to the 18-yard box, that's basically taking a man out of the game. And Israel, as soon as they break forward, they're on the counter. And Steve Clarke said that Scotland played quite well. No, we didn't. We didn't do anything. Every bit of play was in front of Israel. We never got behind them. We never really had a chance. And the only thing Marciano did was pick the ball out of the back of the net. Whereas Marshall had a few saves to make. Dabour should have scored in the first half before we got the penalty. In the second half, last half hour, Israel were flooding men forward. They were all over us. And the fact that we only managed to keep a draw is a blessing. Anyway, enough of that mindless rambling that I'm usually good at. Because there will be a lot of things that I've missed out, but to be honest, Scotland were not good enough, and we should really be working towards 3 points, even though we probably will not be using that formation again against Israel for the playoffs. The fact we missed out on 3 points is not a sacrifice I'm willing to make if we are to just beat Israel 1-0 in the semi-finals of the playoffs and get put out by Norway or Serbia. In reality, these games are the warm-up for the World Cup qualifiers, and if we win this group, we are put up a pot and we'll have a better chance of qualifying. But for now, nah. The qualification, Scotland players couldn't even spell it right now. That's how bad we are. In the next story, the Czech Republic have disbanded their national team. Well, when I say disbanded, they've basically put all their players that were in the squad for the Slovakia game that they played on Friday night, which they won 3-1, into quarantine. They're in quarantine for 10 days, therefore they've got to go and find completely new players and try and get a new team sorted for Monday with a 2-day window. Here's Christoph Gogella, someone I know from the FIFA fan movement sort of social media groupings on Facebook, and here he is to tell us all about what to expect from the Czech Republic.
The whole situation that happened after the game against Slovakia was not very understandable for many of Czech fans and Czech citizens, and there are a lot of talks going on in the media currently, and as of now, as of this moment, nobody really knows what's going to happen on Monday with the game against Scotland.
It is my understanding that the under-21s match for the Czech Republic has been cancelled, and I've heard from a rumour that it might be the under-21s that are being fielded against Scotland. How do you see that panning out?
It's definitely one of the options that are currently being discussed in the national team. The main problem here is that the team that played against Slovakia on Friday cannot play Scotland. So now the question is, who are we going to call up? The under-21 is one of the options for sure, but there are talks that they would need to form up a completely new national team for that one time, for the one game against Scotland. And I personally think that many players from the under-21 team will be called up to that.
One other option that was being discussed on the radio today in Scotland was someone suggested, because the game is being played in Olomouc, they suggested why not just play all the homegrown players from the Olomouc area that are potentially good enough to receive a call-up. Has that been thought of at all?
Honestly, I don't know what kind of sources you guys have in Scotland, because I have never heard about this option being discussed. But the problem is that there are not that many players in Olomouc who would be capable of playing in the national team. And now I'm saying this with all respect to all the players there.
Understood.
So I don't see that as a very likely option.
Do you think this will have any implications on the league? Because, of course, you're 2 games into your season. Do you think anything's going to have a massive, major impact on what's happening in the Czech League?
The fact is that all players who are involved in the current Nations League, UEFA Nations League matches, they have to go into quarantine after they play the game, and they need to be quarantined for 10 days. As, of course, they need to be tested for COVID, I think 3 times, and if all of these tests come out as negative, then they're allowed to play in the Czech League. It will probably have a massive impact for the best teams in here. So we're talking about Slavia, Sparta, and as well Pilsen.
Mm-hmm.
But for the other teams, there won't be that much of an impact.
And one final question. Do you have a sort of score prediction for what's going to happen on Monday night yet? Or are you just completely still confused by this whole situation?
You know, after seeing how well the team played against Slovakia yesterday, I had a score prediction. But after this mess, after this whole situation, things have changed so quickly. And I really don't want to say anything. It'll be a very interesting game for sure. And now that they've confirmed that the game will actually be played, that's going to be very interesting to watch. And how this whole situation, how it's going to unfold, nobody knows. But I hope that there will be some news in the coming hours. And they need to announce the squad for Monday's game one day prior, because one day prior to the game they need to be tested for COVID-19. So I really hope that it won't be that of a bad game, and we'll all enjoy it. Although it will be very special for sure.
Yeah, it'll be a different game to whatever we've seen before. But yeah, thank you very much, Christoph, and back to the studio. I'm not even going to bother with my starting 11 because it's not going to be accurate in any way, shape, or form. Steve Clark will probably go with a 5-5 or something bizarre. I mean, you know what Scotland teams are like against Czech Republic in competitive football. I mean, it was the Czech Republic that Craig Levein played the famous 4-6 against, and look how that panned out. We got beat 1-0. And my prediction, well, as much as predictions go, I mean, anything can happen on Monday. I'm going to go for a 1-0 win for Scotland. That's going to come back and bite me. But yeah, anyway guys, that wraps up today's bulletin, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much to Christoph for coming on, and do follow him on Instagram. The link's in the description, of course. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Mother Scotland.